Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's the Red Shadow, and if I sound a little stuffy, it's because I am. I've been sick for the last couple of days. I've been wanting to sit down and do this pickups video for about a week or so, and just could never find that motivation, as happens all the time. And then the other day I got sick, and I was like, it'd be a great day to do this video, except I'm sick. My nose wouldn't stop running, and I couldn't stop sneezing, and just generally overall pretty piss poor. So I put off the video for a couple more days, but today feels like the right time to do this. Also, the reason why I didn't do a May and then a June pickups video is because I only had 4 games to show for May. And so I decided to wait for the stuff I had coming in June. So that ended up getting me to 7 games. You're going to see a few more than that, but there'll be reasons for that. That'll be clear when we get to them. But 7 video games for pickups, no movies. That felt like good enough. Let's get this one put together, especially because I've already got a few things in for July that are pretty cool. And if Limited Run Games actually ships these games that they say are ready to be shipped, then I should have a fair amount of July stuff to show in a couple of weeks. Alright, so anyway, let's get started on this. First thing I want to show is Sea of Stars, PS4 version. This is the version of Sea of Stars that was offered through iam8bit. So this one was interesting. First of all, the game has been on my radar for a long time. This is a JRPG-like game that was put together by an independent studio, I believe. And I think it came out last year, but the physicals didn't come out until this year. A lot of praise and critical acclaim for it, and to me it just looked really, really cool. It just looked like something that would harken back to 90s or even like late 80s Super Nintendo 16-bit graphics, and it just dawned on me, this is from the same people who did another game, I think, or I'm thinking of something else, or maybe this. No, I think what it is this is the studio that made The Messenger, which is a completely different type of game. It wasn't like an RPG. That was more of a action platformer. A game that I own, but I haven't played yet. And then this is set like in the same universe or something like that, but they went for a different, like I said, different style. So anyway, I was going to mention that this is, like I said, this is the iam8bit version. I ordered it from their website, but you can also find this at like regular retailers. There's a few different places you can find this game, and all of the different ways, iam8bit, retail, whatever else, have like different covers. So this is specifically to iam8bit's version, and then there are different covers for, like, if you just go to a Target or a Walmart, Best Buy, it has a different cover. But I just got it from them because they basically were advertised as having it first, and I just got my pre-order in with them, and I'm happy with that. They had this. It's just a cardboard slipcover, but it has some pretty cool art on it. And then they sent I'm not sure that this even has anything to do with Sea of Stars. This may just be an advertisement from iam8bit, but it's like a postcard, and then there's a little poster. This is Sea of Stars related. So they sent this double-sided poster here. Let me unfold this so I can show what it looks like. This definitely looks like a map of some sort, probably for the game world. There isn't a lot there. There's no legend. There's no words that I can see, but we've got that. And then on the other side, it's just a poster with what looks like to be a whole bunch of characters, probably NPCs and whatnot from the game. So that's very cool, and I'm happy to finally have this. If I can ever get done with my replay of Fallout 4 that I've been working on since like April or May, Sea of Stars was definitely one of the first other things I was gonna I was going to play. All right. Let me see if I can find a place to put these. All right, so the next thing I have here is something that I ordered from VGP, Video Games Plus. This comes from Red Art Games. What this is a couple of games that were released individually in physical form, but only in PAL regions, or PAL and perhaps in the Asian regions. But it didn't get an NTSC release here in North America until Red Art Games put this together in partnership with VGP. So this is the Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Saga. This is Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Don't Dry, and Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Dry Twice. So the Leisure Suit Larry series has been around for years. I think we're talking like back into the 80s or the early 90s, with these kind of cheesy, corny, adult humor, point-and-click adventure-style games. And then they've made these games all the way up until modern times. And I own a couple. I think I own one on the 360 and one on the PS2. The original games are available on things like Steam and probably goodoldgames.com. To be honest with you, though, it's more these newer ones that interest me over the old, like point-and-click style ones, although I wouldn't be opposed to just playing them so I could say that I had. But I just couldn't turn this down, being that it's a series that's been around for a long time and it's kind of known. Sure, it's known for, being a mature-rated game that kind of leans into the sex aspect of things. But this Leisure Suit Larry is supposed to be kind of a dumbass. From what I know, he's sort of a hapless loser that tries really hard and doesn't do very well when it comes to his game. So, like I said, when I saw that was coming to VGP, and I thought I don't have to buy the two PAL versions separately, I was like, I'm just going to jump on that as fast as possible. And next up, I have another game that I ordered from VGP. This was just on sale. It was the cheapest that I'd seen it for. Maybe it's available for cheaper than what I paid for it. But I've been wanting to get this game for a bit, and that's Terminator Resistance. This is supposed to be like a decent game, like a 7 out of 10 style game. And I found once I showed this in the groups that I'm in, there were a lot of people who said it was really bad, and then there were a lot of people who were like, it's really good. So I guess that kind of shows you it's going to be up to individual taste. But I'd heard decent stuff about it, and the team that made this went on to make a RoboCop game more recently that's only available for like PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. I thought I would start with some Terminator Resistance and see how that one goes. Okay, so next up I have a game that I consider to be part of an unofficial trilogy, not a trilogy of games that have anything to do with one another, but there were these 3 JRPGs published by Square Enix, developed by Tokyo RPG Factory, that came out during the last console generation on PS4. And I owned one of them, so this is not a current pickup, this is just my copy of Lost Sphere that I've owned for a few years now. This is one of these Tokyo RPG Factory games. I just picked up the second one in this group, one I had to order on eBay and to get a PAL version of this. And this game is called Ononaki. Sorry about the cough, that's coming from the cold that I just dealt with. Anyway, this is Ononaki. This is game number 2 of this trilogy, so to speak, of Tokyo RPG Factory games that I wanted to pick up and get in the collection. But it's been more difficult to find this one and the other one because they weren't released in North America with an NTSC version. So I had to get this one, like I said, on eBay, and it's a PAL version with the big USK rating on it from Germany. It does have English, I believe it's English text and dialogue. no voiceover. The voiceover, I believe, is Japanese. And then the third one in that, like I said, unofficial trilogy that I'm looking to get. The third game is called I Am Setsuna. It has physical versions, but once again, not in North America. It also doesn't appear to have a PAL version. It has a Japanese version, which as far as I know does not have any English on it. And then I've been able to come across on eBay a Korean version that claims to have English on it. So whenever I do manage to pull the trigger, it's going to end up being the Korean version. And I'll just hope and pray that it really does have English subtitles. All right, last couple of things coming up. This is one I've been really excited for. This one might go ahead in the backlog of Sea of Stars because I've been wanting to play this for a while. I think this was the game that sparked my recent interest in getting all these new modern boomer shooter games. And this had only released physically on Switch a handful of years back. At one point I almost bought it for Switch, but I don't know where I stand as far as getting a Switch in the future since I don't own one. And then Hard Copy Games, who've kind of, they've been around for a few years, but they sort of just kind of fell off the map. They weren't doing much, and when they did do it, it was really weird, like one-off games that would end up, like the Eternal Castle, I think, was the last game I bought from them, and it was exclusive to Video Games Plus. And this one here was exclusive to the New Blood Interactive Store. It wasn't on the Hard Copy Games website. I mean, I think you can go on there and it'll link you to the New Blood store. But anyway, the game here is Dusk. And this is supposed to be a really good, kind of like dark, horrific, first-person shooter, boomer shooter type, like the old Doom, Quake games. And I ordered this, I think it was last November or October maybe. And then we finally got this, I think it was last month in June. But really looking forward to checking this one out. I really like the visual style. It's dark and it's grim, and just looking at the back of it, I see like blood and fire and all kinds of cool stuff. And they also sent, I guess it's just sort of a picture, but it's happy 10th year anniversary from New Blood Interactive, and I love their silly slogan up here: "We love you and we hate money." I mean, I think they like money to a point because they're selling their product, but I think that was like $30 or $35, so I can appreciate that. Okay, second to the last game. These will be my only limited run pickups for the months. First one I have here is Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. So I recently, maybe on the last pickups video, I had a game that was called Another Crusade, and that was something that Limited Run published that was a Super Mario RPG like. So it was a game with a lot of the same perspectives and battle system as the old Super Mario RPG, except no Mario characters in it. So around the same time that they announced that game, they announced this game, Arzette. This is a CDI Legend of Zelda-like. If you are familiar with the CDI games that were done in conjunction or like licensed through Nintendo to produce some Legend of Zelda games for the ill-fated CDI console, and they had the very goofy animation and it was just kind of like a side-scrolling platform-style games. They were kind of like Zelda 2 in that way, I guess. The main thing that those games were known for was being really, really bad. Bad voice acting, bad animation, bad gameplay, kind of a dark spot on the lineage and the history that is Zelda. So anyway, fast forward all these years later, and this company, calling themselves CDI Software, but not CD-I, but actually CD, S-E-E-D-Y, space I, E-Y-E, they got together and they made what is supposed to be a good version of this particular gameplay style, animation, and all that. And it even includes the voice actors who I believe did the voices for Link and Zelda in those games came back to do voices for characters in this. So to me, although it would have been really cool to get those CDI Zelda games on something, although I suppose they wouldn't have ended up on PS4, this is like the next best thing for me, and it is on PS4. So I get a chance to play that kind of game, and it actually is supposed to be a good, competent game. So this is kind of some of the stuff that I really appreciate Limited Run doing, as well as the next thing that I have to show. So let's start here first by showing you the game, and that is Persona 4 Golden on PS4 from Limited Run. At some point in the past, I showed Persona 3 Portable for PS4, also from Limited Run. So both of these games had their pre-orders drop right around about the same time. There was a little bit of offset, and so I ordered this one first, and then a couple weeks later I ordered this one. Separate orders so that I could get them as soon as they came out. But I also ordered something with Persona 4 Golden that did hold it back a little bit longer. But I had to have this because I love when they do these. And that is a special slipcase for both games together. So you got Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden. Shows the two of them on the spine. Shows the two on the back. Even the top and bottom. Well, this one's just the barcode. And then this, compared to previous slipcases that I've got from them, this is actually much better constructed. This is a more durable. It's like a hardcover book, not quite as thick, but it feels like a hardcover book. Whereas the previous ones sort of felt like just a thin cardboard that went over. I still really enjoy the previous slipcovers that I've got from them, but this is, like I said, it's just the quality on this. I really appreciate that. So put both of those into it, and you've got a really cool way to display both of these games on the shelf. A couple of games that I'm dying to play, a couple of games that I own on PS2, like a lot of other shit. I've owned some of these games for years and have never played them, but this is going to be my preferred way to do this, especially because the Persona 3 and Persona 4 on PS2 are basic games, but Atlus, they go all out with their games in later versions. So Persona 3 Portable was on the PSP, Persona 4 Golden was on the PS Vita, and even though they were on handheld consoles, they put extra content into these versions. So now I've got the versions with the extra content, and they're on my preferred console, the PS4. And then on top of that, they just did a remake of Persona 3 called Reload that's kind of a new, modernized, quality of life improvements, etc. version of Persona 3. So I will have to pick that up at some point. But I'll go through the motions for you, Atlus. I'll play this, and then I'll play Reload somewhere else down the road. Just like how I have Persona 5, and then I have Persona 5 Royal. I'll dance through your hoops. I'll do all that stuff. So anyway, so those are my pickups for May and June. Sorry for the wait. Sorry for my voice. But I'm looking forward to getting to the end of July with what I hope should be between like another 6 to 8 games. It's not a whole lot, but I say it all the time. I'll try not to. I'll make sure I do this every month, and then for some reason I always find a way to put it off. But anyway, that's my pickups for May and June. And we'll see you in a few weeks with the July pickups.